Singapore has launched its first ever association on sustainable financing that bridges the finance and non-finance sectors and cuts across different industries. It brings government, financial institutions, academia and non-profits all to the same table. Now, for the best ways to finance the region's green transition, the Singapore Sustainable Finance Association, or SSFA, wants to set standards and lead best practices in areas like carbon credits trading and transition finance, as well as to find solutions to scale up financing for projects like those deemed less bankable. There are also plans to invest more in training and adapting the workforce and applying definitions to give the sector more clarity.
SSFA aims to be the platform where our members can collaborate and develop shared solutions for the collective challenges that our society faces today. The time for the public sector, financial institutions, corporates, industry bodies, NGOs, and academia to come together and act collectively on this important mission is now.
To make a difference through standards, solutions, and skills, the financial sector and industry will need to come together to collaborate and leverage the deep expertise that resides in each domain.
Well, the MICE sector is doubling down on efforts to go green with a set of industry standards to help them cut waste as well as carbon emissions.
And those that apply will get what's called the Singapore MICE Sustainability Certification. And here to tell us all about the next steps, we have Sukumar Verma, VP for Industry and Enterprise at the Singapore Association of Convention and Exhibition Organisers and Suppliers, or SACEOS.
And also with us in the studio is Dylan Sharma. He's co-founder and director of Tricom Events. That's a pilot company in the certification scheme. Gentlemen, thank you for coming to the studios, and it's good to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So first question to you, Mr. Verma. Talk to us about the need for MICE sustainability certification per se, and explain to us exactly what a sustainable event is.
SACEOS is the National Trade Association for MICE in Singapore, and we are driving all things sustainability for the industry. Our aim is to reinforce Singapore's position as a leading sustainable MICE destination. And we want to do so by impacting the entire MICE ecosystem as far as sustainability practices are concerned. I think there are some common misconceptions on what a sustainable event is, and very often people just talk about the environment impact and the climate impact. But it is much broader. It has to look at social and economic benefits as well. And when we talk social, it covers diversity and inclusion. It covers talent development. It needs to look at a much wider framework as defined by ESG, so that the industry progresses as a whole.
So back to Don's question, what exactly does a sustainable event look like? Maybe I'll put that to you. Does anything that Mr. Verma say resonate with you as the company Tricom, which caused you to perhaps come on board and be motivated by this?
Well, firstly, let me start by saying that it's an absolute honor to be the first company in Singapore to be sustainability recognized under this national framework. What motivated us to do this really is twofold, two driving factors. The first driving factor is a mixture of client expectations as well as market demands. Increasingly, we're finding more and more clients as well as prospective clients looking to event agencies such as ourselves and venues to provide consultancy services as well as best practices on how to organize a sustainable event. To answer your question about what is a sustainable event, this really is a confluence of many different factors. How we manage waste at an event, how we look at the carbon footprint of an event, but most importantly, how we do an event in a responsible way that allows us to minimize our footprint, minimize waste, inclusive of food wastage, which is very common at many events in Singapore. And these are just some of the low-hanging fruits that we can do, that all companies can do, so as to be recognized as doing our part for the environment. The second reason, if I may, to address your question of what motivated us to do this, is really a responsibility to the MICE industry. Just on today's news, we've already heard stories about sustainable tech and sustainable financing. And sustainable events is no different. Events are actually a congregator of people, and therefore the responsibility for the MICE ecosystem to do our part is paramount and more important now than it ever has been.
Mr. Verma, back to you on this certification and what we're seeing with the demand for it as well, because, I mean, as you say, Mr. Sharma, there is that need. I mean, your clients want this. Yes. There are different levels, different tiers for certification. Why is there a need for that?
So we are conscious of the fact that different companies are in different stages of the sustainability journey. And therefore, it's important to recognize that and allow a practical yet impactful way of allowing them to get certified. So the tiers are progressive, going from bronze up to silver and on to gold. And the bronze is easier, comparatively speaking, and aimed at companies who are new to the sustainability journey.
Can you give me an example of what a bronze certification would entail?
It would essentially look at a documentary audit that our certification body would do in the company's premises. So it would not entail a visit to the event per se. But we still require companies to present evidence of what they have achieved in the areas of waste or carbon, for that matter.
Right. Yeah. And for you, Mr. Sharma, what exactly have you changed? I mean, with regards that certification, I'm assuming you're aspiring to gold, or you've achieved gold.
Well,
we're getting there.
I think the initial target was a bronze certification, but through the self-assessment and audit process, we decided to aim a bit higher and do a little bit better.
Okay.
So we went for the next best thing, which was silver. Not gold yet, but always something to look forward to and to attain down the road.
You have it in your sights.
Well, this is a 2-year certification process, so the next time we go out for renewal, we certainly will be targeting nothing short of that, nothing short of gold.
What did you need to change at all if at Tricom?
I think that the certification process was really an enriching one. Through the audit process with the auditors, it enabled us to have a very robust discussion and a robust audit in terms of not just what we knew, but more importantly, what we did not know and how to plug those gaps. Let me give you an example. As an event agency, we're responsible for all facets of an event, right? From bringing people together, marketing the event, designing the event, ensuring a flawless execution to the event. But a lot of times for many event agencies as well as venues, there's also the downstream applications, working with vendors, partners, AV companies, staging companies. The challenge that we face here is really how do we bring everybody in the ecosystem together and move forward as one. And that's, I think, one of the key things that we faced. Event organizers, by and large, form a big chunk of the MICE ecosystem and see the pressing need for certification to recognize us as a leading sustainable MICE destination in Asia Pacific for Singapore. But downstream, we need to bring all members of the MICE ecosystem together so that everybody sees the need. And that was one of our key learning points. How do we then educate, raise awareness, and bring others along on the journey with us?
So with your certification, you also become an advocate of sorts, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah. I will start by saying that just because we're certified does not mean we're the flag bearer.
Yeah.
Right? We still have to go through the process of learning, and we still are learning every day because sustainability practices change very often and often change very quickly.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers, but I think the certification process enabled us to see how we could best answer the tough questions of what really comprises sustainable events.
And I suppose for SASIOS as well, it would be fantastic if eventually this were an international certification as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming into the studios and sharing all of this with us. We've been speaking there to Sukumar Verma from SASIOS, as well as Dylan Sharma from Tricom Events.